Right now, as I'm speaking to you, something absolutely unprecedented is happening in Florida that is shocking climate scientists around the world. Snow is falling in the Sunshine State, and I'm not talking about a few flurries that melt on contact. I'm talking about actual accumulating snow in areas that haven't seen winter precipitation in decades, maybe even a century. But here's what's making this so incredibly significant. This isn't just some random weather fluke. This is the direct result of the most powerful bomb cyclone to hit the eastern United States in recent memory, and the meteorological processes behind this Florida snow event are rewriting what we thought we knew about extreme weather patterns. Let me start with the absolute shocking reality of what's happening right now across Florida. The Tampa Bay area, Tampa Bay, is seeing snow flurries for the first time since 1977. That's nearly 50 years ago. Orlando, the city known for Disney World and year-round sunshine, recorded its first measurable snowfall since 1899. We're talking about weather events that happen once every 125 years, and they're happening right now as a direct consequence of this bomb cyclone. But the most incredible, almost surreal images coming out of Florida are showing something that sounds like it's straight out of a science fiction movie, frozen iguanas. I'm not making this up. Across South Florida, green iguanas are literally falling from trees in a state of cold-induced paralysis. These tropical reptiles, which are normally basking in 80-degree sunshine, are experiencing what scientists call cold stunning, as temperatures have plummeted into the 20s and 30s across the state. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, a climatologist at the University of Miami, told reporters yesterday, "In my 30 years of studying Florida weather patterns, I've never seen anything like this. The atmospheric conditions that allowed Arctic air to penetrate this far south, with this intensity, while maintaining enough moisture for snow formation, it's absolutely extraordinary from a meteorological standpoint." So what exactly is causing this unprecedented weather event? The answer lies in the massive bomb cyclone that has been dominating weather headlines for the past week. This is not just any winter storm. This is an explosive meteorological phenomenon that has created a perfect storm of conditions, allowing Arctic air to penetrate deeper into the south than we've seen in generations. Here's the science behind this incredible event. The bomb cyclone off the East Coast has created what meteorologists call an Arctic Express, essentially a direct pipeline of frigid Canadian air that is being funneled southward with unprecedented efficiency. The cyclone's massive counterclockwise circulation is acting like a giant atmospheric vacuum, literally sucking Arctic air masses from northern Canada and transporting them thousands of miles south to Florida. But snow formation requires more than just cold temperatures. You need moisture, and that's where this gets really fascinating from a scientific perspective. The same bomb cyclone that is bringing this Arctic air is also pulling massive amounts of moisture from the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. When that tropical moisture meets the Arctic air over Florida, boom, you get snow formation in areas where it simply shouldn't be meteorologically possible under normal circumstances. The temperature readings coming out of Florida are absolutely staggering. Miami, a city where the average February temperature is typically 75 degrees, saw overnight lows drop to 38 degrees. Key West, which prides itself on never having recorded a temperature below 41 degrees in recorded history, came dangerously close to breaking that record with a low of 42 degrees. Naples on the Gulf Coast recorded 29 degrees. That's a full 45 degrees below normal for this time of year. These aren't just numbers on a thermometer. These temperatures represent a complete disruption of Florida's entire ecosystem. The cold has been so severe and so sustained that it's causing what scientists call ecosystem shock. Those frozen iguanas I mentioned are not just a viral internet curiosity. They represent a massive disruption to Florida's invasive species population that could have ecological consequences for months or even years to come. The agricultural implications are staggering as well. Florida's $150 billion agriculture industry is scrambling to protect crops that were never designed to withstand this kind of extreme cold. Orange groves across central Florida are using every trick in the book. Wind machines, sprinkler systems that create protective ice coatings, even helicopter flyovers to keep air circulating, to prevent what could be billions of dollars in crop losses. But here's what is making climate scientists particularly concerned about this event. It's not just the cold temperatures or even the snow, it's the speed and intensity with which this weather pattern developed. The bomb cyclone that created these conditions intensified at a rate that exceeded even the most aggressive computer model predictions. We went from relatively normal winter weather to record-breaking Arctic conditions in less than 48 hours. Dr. James Peterson, a severe weather researcher at the National Hurricane Center, explained it this way. When we see rapid atmospheric changes of this magnitude, it tells us that the climate system is capable of far more extreme swings than we previously understood. This Florida snow event isn't just rare, it's revealing capabilities of our weather system that we didn't know existed. The historical context makes this event even more remarkable. The last time Florida saw widespread snow was during the Great Freeze of 1899, which caused economic devastation across the state and fundamentally changed Florida's agricultural practices for decades. That event was caused by a much slower moving weather pattern that developed over several weeks. This current event has produced similar impacts in a matter of days, demonstrating the incredible power of modern bomb cyclone formation. What's particularly fascinating from a meteorological standpoint is how this snow formation is occurring. Normally, snow requires very specific atmospheric conditions. The right temperature profile from the surface up through several thousand feet of atmosphere, sufficient moisture, and lifting mechanisms to get that moisture high enough to freeze and form crystals. Florida's typical atmospheric profile makes snow formation virtually impossible because warm air at the surface creates what we call a warm layer aloft that melts any ice crystals before they can reach the ground. But this bomb cyclone has completely disrupted Florida's normal atmospheric profile. The massive influx of Arctic air has created what meteorologists call a shallow cold air mass, a layer of freezing air that extends from the surface up to about 5,000 feet. Above that, there's actually still relatively warm air, but the cold layer is deep enough and cold enough that snow crystals can form and survive the journey to the ground in many areas. The visual impact of this event is unlike anything Florida residents have ever experienced. Social media has been flooded with images that look almost apocalyptic. Palm trees dusted with snow, alligators in frozen ponds, manatees seeking warm water in power plant discharge areas. These images are not just going viral because they are unusual. They are going viral because they represent a fundamental disruption of what we consider normal weather patterns. The timing of this event is particularly significant because it is occurring during what should be one of Florida's peak tourist seasons. Hotels across the state are dealing with unprecedented heating costs and infrastructure challenges they were never designed to handle. Many buildings in South Florida don't even have heating systems capable of maintaining comfortable temperatures when outdoor air drops below 40 degrees. From an aviation perspective, this cold snap has created chaos at Florida's major airports. Aircraft icing operations, something that virtually never happens in Florida, are being implemented for the first time in decades at airports like Miami International and Fort Lauderdale. Airlines are having to fly in de-icing equipment from northern airports because Florida airports simply don't own the machinery needed to handle these conditions. The marine impacts are equally dramatic. Manatees, Florida's gentle giants that are extremely sensitive to cold water, are crowding into warm water discharge areas at power plants and natural springs in numbers that wildlife officials describe as unprecedented. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission has issued emergency protocols because so many temperature-sensitive marine species are at risk. But perhaps the most scientifically intriguing aspect of this event is what it reveals about the increasing volatility of our climate system. And while individual weather events can't be directly attributed to climate change, the pattern of extreme weather swings, from record heat to record cold in short time periods, is exactly what climate scientists have been predicting. As our atmosphere accumulates more energy from greenhouse gas increases, Dr. Maria Rodriguez, an atmospheric physicist at Florida State University, put it this way. What we're seeing is not necessarily that individual extreme events are becoming more common, but that the atmosphere is becoming capable of more dramatic swings between extremes. This Florida snow event demonstrates that our climate system can produce surprises that exceed our historical experience and even our modeling capabilities. The economic implications extend far beyond just agricultural losses. Florida's entire economy is built around the assumption of year-round warm weather. Tourism, construction, shipping, agriculture. Virtually every major industry in the state operates on the premise that temperatures will remain within a relatively narrow range throughout the year. This extreme cold event is stress-testing economic systems that were never designed to handle such conditions. Insurance companies are already bracing for claims that could reach into the hundreds of millions of dollars. Burst pipes in homes that don't have adequate insulation, damaged pools and outdoor equipment, agricultural losses, and business interruption claims are creating what industry experts are calling a once-in-a-century insurance event for the Florida market. The wildlife impacts go far beyond frozen iguanas, though those images have certainly captured public attention. Sea turtles, which are still in the middle of nesting season along parts of Florida's coast, are at risk of cold stunning similar to what affects the iguanas. Fish populations in shallow coastal waters are experiencing massive die-offs as water temperatures drop below their survival thresholds. What makes this event particularly remarkable from a forecasting perspective is how quickly conditions changed. Just 72 hours before snow began falling in Tampa, weather models were still showing the bomb cyclone tracking far enough offshore that Florida would experience only minor temperature drops. The rapid intensification of the storm and the subsequent southward plunge of Arctic air caught even the most sophisticated forecasting systems off guard. This unpredictability is becoming a concerning pattern with extreme weather events, As atmospheric energy increases due to changing climate patterns, weather systems are becoming capable of rapid intensification that exceeds historical precedents. The same phenomenon that allows hurricanes to explosively strengthen is now affecting winter storms, creating what scientists call hybrid extreme events that combine characteristics we've never seen before. The global scientific community is watching this Florida snow event closely because it provides real-time data about how extreme weather systems can interact in ways that produce previously unobserved phenomena. Research teams from universities across the country are deploying to Florida to collect atmospheric data, temperature measurements, and ecological impact assessments that will inform climate science for decades to come. From a public safety perspective, this event has revealed significant gaps in Florida's emergency preparedness systems. Most Florida counties don't have cold weather emergency protocols because they've never needed them. Homeless shelters designed for rain and heat aren't equipped to handle freezing temperatures. Emergency response systems are discovering vulnerabilities they didn't know existed. The transportation impacts have been equally dramatic. Interstate highways that never see winter weather maintenance are experiencing ice formation that Florida Department of Transportation crews have no experience managing. Bridge surfaces, which freeze faster than regular roadway, are creating hazardous driving conditions that Florida drivers have never encountered. Looking at this event in the broader context of the bomb cyclone that created it, we're seeing a demonstration of how extreme weather systems can produce cascade effects that reach far beyond their immediate geographic impact zone. The same storm that brought record snowfall to the Carolinas and hurricane-force winds to New England has fundamentally altered weather patterns across the entire eastern United States. The bottom line is this: what is happening in Florida right now represents more than just a rare weather event. It's a glimpse into a future where extreme weather swings become more common, where climate systems demonstrate capabilities that exceed our historical understanding, and where entire regional economies must adapt to weather patterns that were previously unimaginable. The research implications of this event are staggering. Scientists from NOAA's Atlantic Oceanographic and Meteorological Laboratory are deploying emergency research flights to collect data on how tropical and Arctic air masses interact under these extreme conditions. Dr. Rachel Chen, the lead atmospheric scientist, explained that they're gathering data on phenomena that have never been directly observed before. We're seeing atmospheric mixing patterns that our computer models never predicted, Dr. Chen said. The way Arctic air is maintaining its characteristics while traveling over 2,000 miles from northern Canada to South Florida, that's not supposed to be possible according to traditional meteorological understanding. The agricultural research being conducted will likely influence Florida farming practices for generations. The University of Florida's Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences has deployed teams across the state to document crop responses to these unprecedented temperature drops. Early findings suggest some citrus varieties are showing surprising cold tolerance, while others are experiencing damage that could affect yields for multiple seasons. From an energy infrastructure standpoint, this event is revealing critical vulnerabilities in systems designed for warm weather operation. Power plants across Florida are experiencing efficiency losses as cooling systems struggle to operate in sub-40-degree conditions. Natural gas demand has spiked to levels typically seen in northern states during blizzards, straining pipeline systems never designed for such extreme usage variations. International climate researchers are treating this Florida snow event as a natural laboratory for understanding how rapid climate swings affect complex ecosystems. Teams from the European Center for Medium-Range Weather Forecasts are using this real-time data to validate and improve their long-range prediction models for extreme weather events. Looking toward the future, this event is forcing emergency management agencies to develop contingency plans for weather scenarios they previously considered impossible. Climate scientists warn that as atmospheric energy increases, these black swan weather events may become more frequent. This Florida snow event is not just breaking records, it's breaking our assumptions about what's meteorologically possible, and the implications will be felt for decades to come.